Hello, good morning. Welcome into another episode of Good Morning Nasdaq right here on the Clover Trading YouTube channel. My name is Dom. That is Huddie, and it is
What up?
the 25th day of February, year of our Lord 2025, just 2 months following Christmas. Those who remember, 25 is the day of Christmas. That's cool. Two months into the year, just about. Market feels a little topsy-turvy, a little inconsistent, a little bit like they took all of our runners and gave us China plays. And there's a lot of sitting going on for me right now mentally. I'm not sure what today's going to offer. We're not sure if we're going to get a big bounce back on the overall markets or if there's going to be a little bit more indecision. We'll now bring in Huddie, our in-house analyst when it comes to the overall markets. What is your take today?
I first of all do not. I am not the in-house analyst.
You have been promoted to in-house analyst.
All right. I'll take the promotion. I'll take the pay raise.
It comes with no pay raise.
Yeah. I from what I've seen on Twitter, it does not look good out there. People are like billionaires are bearish for the first time in a long time, and they don't really call for like disaster, but like a correction. There's a lot of uncertainty out there with the tariffs and what's going on with Doge and all that stuff. So um, it looks bleak. And which is natural, markets go through cycles, right? And we've been kind of on a tear for 2 years. It feels like maybe a year and a half, and we have changing of tides, changing of presidencies, changing of policies, and all that stuff. So, when you put tariffs on other countries, it comes with consequences, and I just feel like this might be the start to a correction. I kind of agree with that sentiment. Could be wrong, could bounce back and go to new highs. Eventually, I think it will. Um, But for now, I think the bull cycle might be coming to an end, which is quite typical for quarter one. You generally like December, January, February is really hot, and then March, April it starts to cool off. So
The problem is we haven't really
I don't
gotten the
see a
hot
big.
January, February.
I think we had a hot end of December. That was fun.
Yeah, but that doesn't count.
Okay.
So does that mean we're going to get it in the summertime?
Hmm. Let's not like try to predict that. Let's just take it one day at
I
a
just want you to
time. Play
make
the
me feel
setups.
good about the future.
All right. Well, I can't do that.
All right. Well, you're no
I'm
longer
just
our
trying to be a
in-house
realist.
analyst. We
Don't
got
fire me.
Wayne in here, Mash for Fun, Jack, Dark Trades, Philly, Jason, Chris, P. Diddy, P. Daddy, Slim. Uh, Good morning, good morning. Welcome in. This is our morning show that we do every single day at 8:45 a.m. right here on the channel. So if that interests you and you're like, wow, these guys are really, really cool, and the in-house analyst is very educated, consider hitting that subscribe button. That would really help us because it would give us at least one more than we have right now, which is moving towards our goal, which is 10,000 this year. So do that. Hit the thumbs up button. I pinned the link to our bootcamp, our in-person event coming up in March 22nd through the 24th in Los Angeles. If that interests you, if you're in the area, if you feel like traveling, if you want to meet some aspiring traders, talk to people like Huddie, myself, Kyle, Laptop Legend, other guest speakers. All that link in the bio, link in the chat. It's linked everywhere, clovertrain.io, if you want more information about that. Get your questions going in the live chat. Once we finish up with the gappers, that's where I look. And if there's nothing there, then we end the show. So get going in the live chat. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Talk to each other. Give me your perception of what you believe is happening in the market and any tickers you have questions on. But we're going to start, as always, with the biggest gapper of the day. Talk about ONVO here. Go through what's moving it, what's the catalyst. Go through the daily chart as well. Look for any support and resistance. And then we'll get on out of here this morning. All right. How do you sound? Great.
That sounds phenomenal.
Heading over to the tracker of dilution. ONVO up a nice 238% this morning. A biotechnology stock out of the United States of America. 17 million float. What's the news here? 52 minutes ago, Organovo FXR program, including FXR 314, to be acquired by Eli Lilly and Company. You have inside information on Eli Lilly? Is that what you were saying earlier?
I don't think you should like
Not inside
say that
information.
on
You're
YouTube.
our in-house analyst, and
I
you
don't have
have
inside information.
you said something that you knew what it was. How about that?
I do know what Eli Lilly is. They're like one of the bigger biopharmaceutical companies out there. They create, I think it's Ozempic, and stuff like
Really?
that. So yeah.
That was the
So
that was the information.
yeah. So someone asked me yesterday if there's like any like news catalysts I stay away from. They specifically asked about earnings, and there's really not. But when I see a stock gapping up into this dollar area, and they're getting money from Eli Lilly, and there's contingencies for more money in the future, and it's like a situation where I feel like they don't need to use any kind of dilution because they're getting money. Like I like this feels bullish. They're quite literally improving their fundamental position and cash value. So um, and I hate the dollar region for gappers. So it's not that I'm going to buy it by any means, but like I don't necessarily want to short this. I still might, but I don't want to.
Yeah, and what you were mentioning there, they are high across the board, red bold letters. They have negative zero point 0.3 months of cash left. Looking at any dilution that they have, they got some May 2024 warrants at 80 cents. They got a registered ATM from 2023 and 2018 with something left on it. 2021. And you don't think that this is all that interesting for right now because of the news?
Um, yeah, I mean, I don't think it's that pertinent. They can do whatever they
Pertination.
want, but this feels like good news. I don't know if it deserves a 250% gap up. Like they were a 6 million market cap last night, and now they're much higher. 250% higher. So I don't know if that's necessarily like equating one for one in terms of the math, but um, I don't think the dilution is necessarily in play. Maybe they use it.
Yeah, gapping up 250% right now. Like Heidi alluded to, it is a low price stock in the ones right now. Yesterday went to bed at 37 cents. So definitely a serious increase. Already pumping out some good volume here at 70 million shares. We got one day, I say recently, because we look at these stocks over a long period of time and they jump into our lives at very short moments, very short periods of time. The most recent big move here was a gap on 415, gap from $1 up towards $1.60, and proceeded to fade all day, closing well below its open and setting some resistance on lighter volume than today at $1.75. Some small runs on light volume in its history, but nothing really too eye-opening when it does this type of volume that we're seeing today. Take a look at the intraday here. Got popped up on that news at 8 a.m. straight from 40 cents to where we are now, holding up near the highs. I'm not too concerned about that resistance, but because of the volume. But when you start to look at how far it has to go from where it closed yesterday to get to that area at $1.75, I could definitely see that as a potential short into resistance if it struggles to go past it and hold it and use that resistance as support, just because we'll probably be up 300+% at that point. And we have seen stocks on tears over the past week. MLGO went 400 to 600%, something like that. ATCH yesterday, even though it faded off later in the day, did go from like 3 to 13. Pretty insane move. So stocks, there is a precedent against the precedent that they can't go higher. Just recently, but that's really the only level you got there. That's a behavior precedent that when it does gap up big, it fails and fails hard without running too much in the morning. And you got to balance that in the technicals with everything that Huddy's saying with his information on the news and how great the news is. So that's kind of my 2 cents. What do you have to say about the daily chart?
Pretty beaten down daily chart. The stock has been around for a long time. They clearly probably have or are in the works of a reverse split because probably need to stay compliant and stuff like that. Um, Yeah, it's a long-term downtrending chart. You are right. There's overhead resistance. I also don't think it's really the same like share structure as ATCH was. I really don't expect 4 to 13 type of move from ONVO. Um, this reminds me more of something that like might wick up, might wick down, and kind of trade in a channel, just because the news might kind of elicit some buyers. But if it gets super extended, short sellers might come in against that resistance and just play the technicals, and then might just find like that even keel ground. Um, this doesn't like strike me as a huge fader necessarily. Like last time it gapped up, I don't know what the news was, but I feel like it was less strong. Other than that, like I don't think there's a lot of structure here. This is just like coming off like fresh lows and has good news. So now it's at $1.
It was actually phase 2 results.
Nice.
That is Organovo Holdings. ONVO. Nikita says Eli Lilly does not make Ozempic. It is made by a Danish company called Novo Nordisk, but Eli is huge. Where are you getting your information, Huddie?
I don't know. I kind of make it up as I go.
Yeah. Well, thank you for correcting us there. Well, Huddie, not me. I just gave him the confidentiality to say it. Next biggest gapper, Huddie. You want to go to the next 100 plus percenter FMTO? Femto? Sure, Dominic, let's do that. All right, we're going to go
Sure, Dom, that sounds great.
We're going to go to Dilution Tracker for Femto and talk about this bad boy here. Rocking a 570K float. Huddy had something smaller from where he looks. So we're talking micro, tiny, small float, sub 1 mil out of Canada. This was previously known as BYND Canasoft. Just so you know. No historical PRs. Not a whole lot of information here. They have 5 months of cash left. Do you see anything in the dilution that is eye-opening for you?
I mean, they have a shelf for $9 million. They were under it, but they might be over it now since they filed their recent annual report. But other than that, there's not much going on here. This used to be a cannabis company. Now they're feminine care and wellness. So congrats to them.
That's a big shift.
Uh,
We have to
it's a
applaud
big
shifts
shift,
like that.
a necessary shift in 2024, 2025. But yeah, I don't really have much to say about this little small float company.
And nothing about their dedication creating smart woman-centric products.
Wow, look at this long-term daily chart.
Let's take a look at it. Hey, let's do it together.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah, so it looks like been beaten down for a while. A little confused why when I go into this checker I don't have any PRs because they've obviously been trading for a long time. Could just be the Canada in it, but clearly a couple reverse splits. Does not really trade at all. These are kind of daily charts that kind of freak me out a bit when even before you tell me it's a 500K float. Most of the stuff we trade is pretty light volume most of the year, besides the times that it gets some activity, it gets a catalyst, gets some volume, traders jump on it. This is just like sketchily, at $8 a share to be going sideways for months of like 30 cents a range on 1,000 shares a day. Kind of interesting. Kind of fell off here at the beginning of this year from the 8s down to the 3s, and is gapping up big this morning. Kind of looks like it ran yesterday at the close of after hours, kind of popped up and then has continued this morning, kind of holding mid-range, holding some higher lows just below the highs. Not a lot of history to play off of here, which is kind of sketchier. Usually when you're dealing with a super low float, you got to find a couple other reasons that make you a little bit more confident, a little more convicted in a direction. But this feels much more coin flippy today on FMTO than, we don't have a lot of history to play off of, don't have a lot of precedent, don't have any real resistance that I can see. I mean, it's tough to go back too far without it getting... But there's just no volume anywhere in the daily charts. So this feels a little bit more like check in at noon and see where it's at. I wouldn't be surprised either way. Huddie.
Um, I hear there's a big newsletter on it. That's just kind of what I hear down the waiver wire. Um, Other than that, I think it's just a low float and it's going to do some, stupid low float things.
Stupid low float things, eh?
Yeah. I don't really have a good read on it either. I agree with you. It's a 50-50 coin flip.
Yeah, that's a tiny float. We've seen a lot more of them over the past few years than we used to see, but it's never quite as easy as you think. Even if you're right on the direction, sometimes the way they trade and the spreads, some halts, can really complicate managing risk. And that's always my forewarning when trading really, really small floats, is that I told you it was a really, really small float. So protect your stuff, stay safe, and if you choose to trade it. Throne says even longs on these China plays is sketchy. Aimed too high on one yesterday, only for it to flop back on a pretend volume squeeze. GDC.
I told you that was going to happen.
I didn't even know GDC was alive yesterday.
Why are we buying scammy stocks? I guess because they go up.
Yeah, for me, it's more of just. I'm all for buying scammy stocks at certain times, but this is just kind of price action that would not make me feel comfortable as a long. When every time we start to grind up and spike, we immediately snap back to where we came from, and we do it several times. Sometimes you gotta learn that lesson, I guess, and get stopped out before it happens. But yeah, yesterday just did not feel like the day to be long things either.
Yeah.
Any big gappers left? We got 194% WAFU. WAFU? Sounds like in a kid's book or a kid's movie, WAFU would be like a rhinoceros, you think? Is that what you think?
This is another Chinese sim.
All right, talk to me.
I just did.
Give us the whole rundown.
There's not much to run down. I really don't think there's much to say about this one. It's, been a Chinese sympathy for many years. We've seen it run with China all the time. And that's what it's doing right now. Like, it's kind of following up that momentum from yesterday that we saw with all those China plays.
Do you know what else they're doing? They're integrating DeepSeek a couple weeks late.
Okay.
Low across the board, 1.2 million float. Bajillion months of cash left, like most China pumps look like. Daily chart wise, what interests you here? What de-interests you?
I wouldn't even want to look at the daily chart. Kind of similar to the plays yesterday. I just don't think any of the levels are kind of real because China can just manipulate whatever they want to manipulate. And so this is just either they're gonna want it higher or they just kind of let it no one's home and it just fades. Kind of like what happened yesterday with all the other ones. So I probably lean towards it's kind of like the other ones, but you can see on the daily chart that even there's times where it did gap up into resistance, still had a spike and had a good day. So it's their world. They're gonna do what they want to do with it. And it's a sketchy Chinese play. So you kind of know what you're getting into before you go into it.
Yeah, I don't have much to add on that topic as I'm not an expert. Yeah, it's kind of late to the party in terms of what we've been seeing from last week into yesterday. Yesterday, there wasn't a ton of action to the upside on a lot of the China stocks. And we're getting one kind of on the tail end here on a Tuesday in kind of a wonky market. So don't have high hopes for it, but those are also the ones that can sneak up on you. So if you choose to trade this stuff, just kind of be aware of potential manipulation and account for it in your risk management practices.
All right. Those are the gappers for the day. Let's take some questions and get out of here.
William says Wafu is probably a monkey name. I could see that. A chimpanzee in a kid's movie. You could see that too, Huddy, right?
Sure.
Thoughts on BBAI potential bounce? I have this on watch. Pretty not so fade here. Kind of on the last breakout, kind of the tiny one into the tens before having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on 6 red days so far. Has only spent a little bit time green. I think about this day here on the small gap up. So for me, kind of hoping for some sort of weak open, maybe even a pull down to the breakout level, the 520 area, and then a green move in the morning, maybe throughout the day, and a grind back. This isn't like the type of first green day I'm generally looking at for reversal, where I really want that quick move to happen in 30 minutes to an hour. I think it's possible, but I don't really think it's probable on something like BBAI with a bigger float, slower mover. Volume, I think, is important. If I feel like there's going to be a wick to the downside today and a strong green day, I wouldn't even throw out maybe the idea that it could go another day if it does 100+ million volume, kind of get outside of this fading volume that we've had over the past week and a half. I think it's there. I think it's a decent opportunity. Timing is what really makes these plays difficult, because you get too early. You've been buying this every day for the last 3 days. Too late and you miss the play. So timing is really important, just so you're not taking multiple losses before you're right, and then you kind of end up where you started at zero.
My thing with this type of first green day is, like, given what this chart has done so far, like, I just have no idea which day it is going to bounce. Like, maybe there's a certain price action, but then how much does it bounce before, like, it comes back and tests the lows or whatever it is? Like, I think it's going to be hard, like you're saying, to time which day the bounce happens, and I don't think the overall market is very conducive for a bounce to happen, like, necessarily today. Those are like my macro thoughts. But again, I'm not really a first green day buyer. But I would have the reason I'm not a first green day buyer is because I would have a hard time picking which day, and I would take 5 or 6 losses just to nail it, and that's not what I like doing. I don't like those types of strategies.
Yeah, I kind of think about, this is different. This is more of just a nice clean fade versus like RGTI, those quantum plays whenever news hit or whatever it was that caused their deaths. They went down a lot further than you thought, kind of similar to BBAI in the time frame. And it looks really obvious where the reverse happened, but I did lose on this a few times before. I don't even know if I ended up being right on it. I was right in my idea, but wrong in my execution. And there are always some tough plays where you kind of know what to expect, but actually going about trading it, because we are day traders and we have to make sure that we are maximizing either our win rate or our risk reward. And if our risk level is wrong, if the stock is too wonky, we can take extra losses when we're still right. And that happens sometimes. People ask about MLGO for reversal. Technically fits. This is the only one that fits, I think. 1 to 12, whatever it is. It's more than a 300% spike. Huge green day Friday. Yesterday gap up and fade red. This morning it's opening, and we'll see where it opens, but down 13% right now. So the further this fades, I think we're below yesterday's low days. Not a great look for a potential reversal. And just in general, China stocks on the backside are just as unpredictable on the front side, and whether or not you get the squeeze, whether or not you get a bounce on the backside. But it technically does fit. It's just a matter, if they don't want it to go down right now, and if enough buyers come back in to get this thing a little pop, a little bit more life back. But that is on my watch list, something I'm watching.
I think the short answer is just look left.
Look, Larry?
Look left. Draw your own conclusion on whether it's going to bounce or not.
Well, the problem is there's different examples.
They're both the same example.
No, one worked, one didn't.
They don't bounce.
No, they did. Not the most recent one with Holo and stuff, but freaking I can't even see this far back. There was one where it did. It was nice. I saw it in my stats yesterday.
Okay.
But as a general thing, they're a lot more tricky on the backside. Once their games are over, they tend to fade until we hear about them again in 3 months. All right. Any other questions? Someone says BBAI in news. Doesn't look like it's doing too much right now, but we shall see. That'll be a top watch for me this morning. Not a lot on watch. Got a couple gappers here, a couple daily charts on backside. But what I know that at some point this week, I'm probably gonna have a lot less on my watch list just because we don't have the runners right now. When we get big shifts in the market and the runners go away, that takes puts a little bit of strain on multi-day runners. And so that is where I will go back to sitting my hands, being patient, waiting, trying to get better at these periods of the month when the cycle changes, when the market slows down, when there's not many opportunities, whatever it is, seems to happen more often than we think. And I don't like looking back on those weeks and going, oh, I should have just done a whole lot more nothing. I think about the last 2 weeks of January, about this week right now, be more hands off when the time is to be hands off. And when the opportunity is there, remind myself in the moment, this is my opportunity. It could be the only opportunities of the month. Need to capitalize. Doesn't feel like that right now, but we will see as the week progresses. We'll be live tomorrow, 9:15 a.m. for some live trading. Myself, Huddie, and Kyle. And we'll do Wine Wednesday tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern as well. One way for sure to make sure you never miss any of that is subscribe to the channel. Please do so right now. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out. Get signed up for the in-person boot camp coming up March 22nd through the 24th in Los Angeles. And Huddie, give them something else.
Boot camp in Los Angeles. See you guys there.
Awesome. Fantastic. Amazing. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 9:15 a.m. Have a wonderful, fantastic, amazing Tuesday. And we will see you on your Wednesday. For Leaf Clovers, you have a webinar at 11 a.m. Bye now.